Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Memorial May, where we are going around and checking out historical markers all over the area where I live. This morning we are going to the Hernandez-Capron Trail. It's a historical marker that's placed in front of a Brazilian steakhouse at our local mall here in Melbourne. The mall is called Melbourne Square Mall, and I'm going to show you the historical marker and tell you everything that I've learned about it. Hope you enjoy this video.
Today's adventure takes us to a historical marker located right near the food court entrance to our Melbourne Mall, and I've walked past it dozens of times without ever even noticing it was here. I suspect lots of people pass it by without noticing, as it's very inconspicuous in a beautiful little garden area. The Hernandez-Capron Trail is a historic trail in eastern Florida extending between New Smyrna in Volusia County, northwest of Melbourne, down to Fort Pierce in St. Lucie County, south of here. It was the first road from St. Augustine to the Fort Pierce areas. The majority of the trail is in wilderness, although some portions traverse developed areas like this one. There is another historical marker for this trail north of us in Cocoa. The territory of Florida was ceded from Spain to the United States in 1821. There were very few people at the time living between St. Augustine and southern Florida. Most of those who lived here were the Seminole Indians, and they were being pushed deeper and deeper into the Everglades. Most of the European and American settlers had recently been burned out of their properties or run off by the Seminoles, precipitating the Second Seminole War from 1835 to 1842. There were no roads, no railroads, and no accessible intracoastal waterways. Movement of people and freight into southeastern Florida was limited to Indian footpaths, the St. Johns River, or the Atlantic Ocean. The trails were barely wide enough for single-file pedestrian traffic. The St. Johns River only provided passage to the Sanford area, and the Atlantic coast had very few inlets and was very vulnerable to enemy ships. Joseph Hernandez was a lifelong resident of the St. Augustine area and a brigadier general in the U.S. Army. He was the first Hispanic member of Congress and the first territorial delegate to represent Florida. He bridged his state's cultural and governmental transition from a Spanish colony to a U.S. territory. Hernandez fought first for Spain and later for the United States. He also earned and lost a fortune that included 3 plantations and numerous slaves. General Hernandez was given an assignment in December 1837 to build a military road from St. Augustine to Fort Pierce. Although the road was built during the winter months, thus minimizing the problems with the heat and humidity and with the malaria-carrying mosquitoes, construction of the road must have been quite a challenge. Without any construction road-building equipment, he conducted this daunting task during the Second Seminole Indian War. Road building was very close to approaching the main area of Seminole territory as he made his way south. Attacks from Native Americans or wild animals were ever-present concerns. Most of the road was constructed along the prehistoric dune line known to geologists as the Atlantic Coastal Ridge, as most of the ridge is high and dry terrain, and it lies about a mile or so west of present-day Highway US 1. Hernandez likely followed the trails used by the Seminoles for over a century and by generations of the native Ace and Timucuan Indians prior to that. The first road from St. Augustine to Fort Pierce was at least 16 feet wide, which was wide enough for mule wagons and ox carts, and it was 200 miles long. The road ultimately connected forts used to remove the Seminole Indians and support colonization in Florida. General Hernandez held a number of positions of importance in the territory of eastern Florida. In 1837, under orders from General Thomas S. Jessup, he captured the Indian chief Osceola. By 1838, the Hernandez Trail was rarely needed for military use anymore and was much more frequently used by settlers. Traffic on the Hernandez Trail slowed down dramatically as new roads and new sources of traveling became more prevalent. Some portions of the trail are still visible today from aerial photos and trail markers throughout Brevard and the Indian River counties.
right, everybody, that's everything I know about the Hernandez-Capron Trail. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. If you enjoy this series, I'm doing one every single day in the month of May. I'm calling this Memorial May, and I am trying to learn more about the city where I live in this month, so stick around. There'll be other videos just like this coming. See you guys in another video. Bye, everybody.